Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Agiolo, and welcome to Political Headache. I'm joined by my co-host, Oduor Jagero. How are you today, Jagero?
I'm very, very, very well.
On to the topic of today. Politics, isn't it just like the least sexy word ever? And even though a lot of us want to engage with it, it just feels like it takes more than it gives. And in a perfect world, politics should be about how we organize our shared life, how resources move, how decisions are made, etc. But let's be honest, most of the time, it just feels like a reality show that none of us signed up for. Or like that bad boyfriend who you hate but cannot break up with. In fact, in the 2022 general election, we experienced a significant decline in youth participation, marking a record low in recent electoral history. Despite youth comprising approximately 75% of Kenya's population, they accounted for only 39% of registered voters in 2022, a decrease of 5% from 2017. This decline in youth engagement contributed to the overall voter turnout dropping to 65%, the lowest we have seen in 15 years. Now look, here at Political Headache, we get it. We have seen the same faces, we have had the same empty promises, and it has led to the same cycles of frustration. So why even bother? And if you have ever asked yourself that question, you are in the right place. Today, we will be unpacking the nuances of political engagement and why now more than ever, your voice matters. Why politics matters, who participates, who doesn't, and why that is not an accident. And most importantly, how we can stop seeing politics as something happening to us and start seeing it as something that we can shape. Welcome to Political Headache.
Thank you very much. So, it's not just a boyfriend. It could be also a girlfriend that, is giving you problems.
Also, girlfriends give us problems.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's interesting when you talk about our place in politics. One of the things that I've always realized is that when there are things that we are told during election campaigns,
yes,
that are drummed and drummed and drummed over and over again,
yes,
and people are told that this is what is going to happen. Like right now, if you look at the United States right now, yesterday Trump actually said that the United States could be staring at recession. And why is that? Because of the things that he's doing, trying to do crazy things, invoking laws that were last used in 1700.
Yeah.
So even if you come back home during the Kenya Kwanza, when they were gallivanting all over the country,
yes,
what are the things that they were telling the people? They were telling the people that they will be probably having taps from where milk and honey are going to come from. We had Gachagua that was making the most noise and calling Raila and other politicians all sorts of names, but he's right now in Mamunyoro sipping tea, and he's not involved at all.
Yeah.
But when they were during the campaigns, the people that voted for President Ruto, more than 200,000 those that voted for Raila Odinga,
yeah,
they voted for him knowing that it is going to be a joint ticket, Gachagua and Ruto, and that Gachagua was going to help him with everything that it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
But now we have Kindiki that was never voted in. We have Raila that was never voted in. We have all these elements that have been introduced in this government. So I think that the problem that a lot of people are seeing is that constantly you are told something that at the end of the day does not take place.
Yeah.
You are given all these promises. They said that Raila Mganga, Ruto, Uhuru has messed up the country, has put his relatives in government, has done all these things, and they said that with Ruto and Gachagua, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And all we saw after that was complete darkness when we were back into the tunnel. And then we were suddenly out of the tunnel again, but right now with Kindiki and Raila in tow.
We are back into the tunnel, deep into it.
So this is the thing. I did not vote last election.
Why not?
Because I thought that there was going to be very little change. Look, I'm very disappointed with our politics.
Yeah.
Because, for example, I live around here. I don't know who my MCA is, but
okay,
I don't know who my MCA is. I hear about my MP, but I don't know what he's been doing all along. Somebody would say that it's upon me to find that out, but why is it upon me to find that out?
Yeah.
I should be able to see it somewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My most enthusiastic voting was in 2002 when
that's a long time ago.
Were you born?
I was born. But no, I just mean like there's been several elections.
Yeah, and I've never been very
cycles
enthusiastic about them because of the way the politicians have always. Because even if you look at Kasmuel's grandfather, Raila Odinga.
We are just creating relational bonds and ties.
Even if you look at somebody, a lot of people are saying that he has been a stalwart in Kenya's politics, that he's tried to change a lot of things. Probably yes. But you see, the bedfellows that Raila has had over the years, it's unbelievable. He has been a bedfellow to President Moi. He has been a bedfellow to President Kibaki. He's been a bedfellow to President Uhuru Kenyatta. Yeah. He's been a bedfellow now to President Ruto. And all these people are very questionable in one way or the other. So when you say that only 39% of people turned out to vote in the last election, that is a huge drop. Like, it does not... It barely represents the country.
It doesn't. And that's the question that I have for you. Do you think it's a coincidence that politics plays out in our country the way it does? So you've mentioned that you don't know your MCA, you don't know your MP. These are things that should just be common knowledge. In an engaged citizenry, we should know who is representing us. Do you think it's a coincidence? Because I get the sense that one of my conspiracy theories is that all of it is very intentional, that our politicians are not stupid. They are actually very smart. They're going to overwhelm you with drama and shenanigans while under the table they are doing different things. I don't know if you've seen that image of, we are fighting here, squabbling, but under the table we're exchanging hands, like things are happening, things are working. And so we are kept exhausted by drama and shenanigans. I think I told you this, the best drama competition in theater should be given to our politicians because that is what they do. And I do not think that they do this because they are foolish. I think it's very intentional that we are kept in a loop of following the drama, following the noise, following the shenanigans, but then nothing gets done.
So, for example, even right now, I don't know whether I should be in somewhere in a ward called Ngando or whatever.
That is your ward here in Nairobi?
Yeah, but if you just a mere search of Ngando ward website, you don't get anything. So the question is, where are the lines, the channels of engagement?
Yeah.
Like, for example, if I want to engage my ward, do I call the MCA?
People point out MCA's homes, and then you're told if you want to talk to your MCA, you go to you go to his house. That's how people kind of engage, and I think it's by design, so that when you go, like when we meet in an office, we have to be formal, and I have to tell you, excuse me, sir, there's a lot of problems here. What are you doing for the ward? But if I go to your house, that's a different dynamic.
But people should not be going to the houses of politicians.
But that is what happens.
But we should not be going. I would not want.
We shouldn't be going.
If I am an MP of Nyakach constituency, I don't want people to come to my place.
But people
there should be the office, and the thing is that there are no channels of communication.
Yeah.
Like, for example,
and that is intentional.
Yes, I'm doing Nyakach constituency website.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But then Nyakach and .cdf and so what you find is, the only thing that you find is nyakach.ngcdf.go.ke. That means that it's a government website.
Yes.
So it's just I don't know what it is doing. It's got the bursary application form, but I don't want a bursary.
That's all. But that's all we are doing.
So, but when you say that it is by design, what do you mean by that?
I mean that all our politicians let's talk about Ruto and his brother Uhuru, his former brother, ex-brother Uhuru.
They're still brothers. As a matter of fact, he was in what is his place of birth? What is it called?
What do you Uhuru's
place of birth? Gatundu.
He was in Gatundu. So they're brothers.
They're still brothers. Chini ya maji.
Their ticket the first time they ran was like digital. They were bringing everything was supposed to be digital.
Yeah.
And the digital duo with the two red ties. I cannot forget that image.
Yeah.
It's
a trigger for some Kenyans.
Yes. When you see the red ties, it takes you back to a dark time.
Especially those who bitterly lost.
Digital, right?
By the way, can I tell you something?
Yes.
I just want to digress.
Okay.
That's 2013, right?
Yes.
The red tie, we first saw it at 2013.
Yes.
I was actually a writer, and I
Yeah.
was present at the inauguration. I think the inauguration happened at the Catholic University, something like that, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think so. But there was a very lavish
Big,
celebration.
flashy
I don't know
event.
whether it
Yes.
was a flashy event
Yeah.
that place.
Yeah.
And it was looking like the people that were supporting Raila Odinga had just been killed. You know, it was looking very bleak,
Yeah.
very gloomy, and a section of this country was really
Yeah.
over the moon.
Yeah.
And for good reasons, right? Ruto and Uhuru went into a studio, I think, and they took pictures, and they were laughing, and they were goofing.
Yeah.
And for the first time, we felt like they are demystifying the
political office, yes.
Like they were laughing. Uhuru Kenyatta was genuinely very, very happy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And they looked nicer then also.
He looked.
So it helped.
He looked nice, and Ruto, the Nilot looked really, really good.
Yeah. It was before the rains had started beating them.
Yeah. So yes, you were saying something.
And so when they ran on this digital ticket, what prevented them from setting in place structures that could open communication lines, so that when I look for any of my representatives, I'm able to contact us, like a normal website. There's a contact us place, and it gives you a link, and it trans. None of those things works in the government. So it feels like the whole world has moved digital. The whole world has access. You can find a random salesman in the bottom of industrial area, Google their website, and no matter where you are in this country, order something and they will send it to you.
Yeah.
But the government that has the most resources in this country cannot do that, cannot set up a website and put up a phone number and put somebody there to answer, hello, office of the MCA of how may we help you today?
And embed a WhatsApp link.
Yeah, and embed a WhatsApp link so we can text. That's why I say it is intentional, because if they wanted to, they would.
So
it is not out of reach. It is not too expensive.
When you say it's intentional, then the question that arises from that statement is that why are they keeping people in that situation whereby you cannot contact them, you cannot do anything, the contact is completely zero? What?
Because now you cannot hold me accountable to a discussion that we have not had.
Yeah,
that's the point. If we have not talked about something, how am I going to come back and say this is what we agreed on? But it also helps them control the narrative, because now the only place you're going to see them is on the news. But that's a one-sided conversation. So he gets to say what he wants to say. You either take it or leave it, and then you move on with your life. It protects them in some sense, which is why during the Gen Z revolution in last year in 2024, this mambo ya kusalimiana and sending phone numbers was very, very interesting, because it opened those channels, and it was like, yeah, I'm going to text you and tell you what you're doing is nonsense. I mean, it came with a whole wave of concerns on privacy and security or whatever. But that is what people were saying. Let's break down the walls. I'm going to put my MCA's number, or I'm going to put this guy's number. If they're your MP or your MCA, text them. Because we do not have structures that do that. In a functional country, the citizenry should be able to have contact with the political class. But we don't have that in Kenya.
Because there is a time I think there was something happening in the United States, and the senators and the congressmen were complaining that their phones were ringing off the hook.
Yes,
but they were not their own.
They were not their own personal phones, because they have set up a system where if as a citizen you feel aggrieved by anything, honestly, and in the US it could be anything.
Yeah,
it's like something behind my door. Anything really, you can call your representative and say, hey, this is happening and this is not okay. This is why I elected you. So can we talk about this? And if it is not within their purview, they send you to the right place. They say, oh, no, actually, that is not within my mandate. Let me send you to the right place.
Yeah.
That is what they're supposed to do. But they're not doing that, and it is intentional. Yeah. So let's talk about this new wave of Gen Z and TikTok politics.
TikTok politics.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about it? What's your take on it? I have seen so many videos, so many people, it's called the Gen Z wave of political engagement, but I think it's just driven by the digital world, which is why it is which is why it is Gen Z led, but I think everybody is engaging now more than ever. But my question is, because in our country, we engage with politics every 5 years.
Yeah.
Every 5 years during election, then we forget. We see drama on the news, we move on with our lives. My question is, off of 2024, and we move all the way to 2025, and there's still 2 more years to go to the next election. Do you think that the work that has been done within these 2 years is enough to sustain the anger and the frustration that we have felt for us to make different choices in 2027?
There are 2 things.
Yes.
The wave was scary. And I thought that this is the first time that I'm seeing a country that is rising up in a very coordinated manner to tell the government, look, we are here, we are the people, we are paying tax, or at least our mothers are paying some tax.
No, they're paying tax, VAT.
Yeah, and when they go to the supermarket to buy ball gums, they pay tax, actually.
Taxes,
So it was a huge wave. And for me, when it started, I was thinking, this is not going to work. And it worked in a big way.
Yeah.
They poured into the streets. I was not able to go to the streets, obviously, because I am becoming very frustrated with going to the streets and getting injured for no reason.
Have you gotten injured out on the streets?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, we have gotten injured in the streets. We've gone to the streets several times.
Yeah.
You get injured and nobody cares about you. After that, they get into their big cars and shoot, they are gone. To Capitol Hill or wherever or to Karen.
They go somewhere.
Or now to Wamunyoro, you know.
Yeah.
But this time around, I thought it was a very well-coordinated opposition against the government.
Yeah.
And the rioting was real. And I thought that was going to do more than it has actually done. And one of the things that the government has always done is that when they see people rioting on the street, they pick the rioters and either scare them off, like in abductions, or they can decide to bring them to the table and say, what do you want?
What do you want?
We are
Let's
taking
talk.
tea here, we have butter here, we have sosiagi here, we have this here.
The good things, the finer things of life.
What can I serve you, my friend?
Yeah.
You see, so that happens, and then they started abducting these guys and started scaring them off really badly, and then they invited their parents to rein in on them.
Yeah.
And tell them, look, your boys and girls are misbehaving.
Yes.
And it's not going to end well for them.
Yeah.
So I think they actually even roped the parents into saying that if you have a child, don't let them go to the streets.
Yes.
And that happened, actually.
Yeah.
At some point, parents were very stern and were telling them, I don't want you to die. And that's what they were telling their daughters and sons, that I have no problem with you being against the government, but I have a problem with you going downtown and dying and me burying you.
Yeah.
Or you being found in a takataka somewhere, in a quarry somewhere. So that was the thing. Then it started dying down. We had serious luminaries, very, very, very. We had Kasmuel Makoure, who is a member of this podcast.
Yes.
We had Cairo,
Caliph
Cairo, who was very strong, and we had a few of them from
Gabriel Oguda.
Yes, Gabriel Oguda.
What is his name?
Gabriel Oguda is a Gen Z.
He's not a Gen Z, but he was. I'm telling you, this was. Anyway, okay.
Gabriel Oguda wasn't a keyboard warrior.
He was a keyboard warrior. But we needed them.
We needed them. Yeah, for sure, we needed them. So now, when they started scaring these boys left, right, and center, and they roped their parents into scaring them even more, then they disintegrated. And the Kasmuel, he has never told me this properly, what really happened and why he decided that it's not worth the fight. Because...
Did he decide that it's not worth the fight?
I don't know, because he was seen with Raila. This is how it happened. Yeah. He was seen taking a photograph with Raila. And he told me that he saw Raila for 15 minutes.
Yes.
And then after that, they said, we are going to deplatform you. You are not going to be our leader.
Yeah.
And funny enough, when they were saying that Kasmuel is not their leader, Kasmuel wasn't their leader, because they said that we are a leaderless movement.
Yes.
But when Raila, when they saw Kasmuel being taken a photo with Raila Odinga, they decided that he's not their leader.
Yeah.
So then Kasmuel started having a pull and push with these guys and it went into a blown out fight.
Yeah.
And they were like, F you.
Yeah.
You don't need me. Get out of my platform. I didn't ask you to come and follow me.
Yeah.
I didn't go with the street with you. So you go back to your mama. I'll go back to my mama.
Yeah, or my grandfather.
I wish Kasmul was here, right here. I wish Kasmul was right here. So what then happened after this is that Cairo was caught up in a scandal. A very big scandal.
Yeah.
You know? So the government was like, this is your guy? Guy who can't sell a car?
Yeah.
You know? These are the guys that want to lead a country?
Yeah.
Of how many cars in this country?
Yeah.
You see, so Kasmuel, for lack of a better word, was pushed to the side. Because apparently now he loves ODM and he wants to continue. He said actually on my podcast, DWJ, that I want to take political power.
Yes.
And the Gen Z were even more infuriated. Were telling him, you want to take political power without us?
You're a sellout.
You are a sellout?
Yeah.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Cairo fell on the wayside because of his business
Personal problems.
And then I think suddenly there was a huge vacuum. And remember when Ruto came out to address the issues that, by the way, the Gen Z movement was against the bill, the financial bill.
Yeah, that's where we started.
That is where it all started.
Yeah.
And also, Kasmuel has always insisted that was the agenda. All these other things that you're bringing forth, I don't know about them.
No, I think that's where me and Kasmuel kind of part ways.
Yeah.
Because if you start sweeping under your chair, because your remote has fallen under the chair and you want to get the remote out of the chair.
Yeah.
And then you go under there, you find cockroaches, you find, what is it called, mice, you find... Do you now just take the remote and leave the chair there with everything that it has? No.
You could.
You sweep. You could if you wanted to. But we would question your sanity.
It must not...
It is your house. You can do what you want. We are all adults. But we are all looking at you like... Situfagia hiyo nini?
Yeah.
Fagia chini ya meza. And that is what happened.
I think the problem is that when it becomes a little bit too much when you are saying that you have to be the one sweeping that thing. Although you are 5 in the house, you are claiming that I am the one who saw it, but I'm the one who's supposed to get it.
Is that what they were saying?
That's apparently, I think so. According to a lot of people, that's what they were saying. That
so it felt like the Gen Z wanted to be the ones, or what do you mean?
Yeah, like all these other things were cropping up again. So they wanted this to go on and on after Ruto had come out and decided that after all, I get you guys. You don't want the finance bill. We are not going to sign it into law.
Yeah.
And according to so many people, it was supposed to end there. Everybody goes home.
Yeah.
But they pushed the envelope.
Yeah.
Yeah, and said that, wait a minute, there are other things that we don't,
yes,
we are happy
but you
with.
know the instigating thing was when people started dying, it brought up a trauma that we all have as a country.
Yeah.
So yes, you have upturned the finance bill, but we are seeing our mothers on our screens wailing to the ground because you have killed their children.
Yeah.
We are seeing it. It has not ended. So fine, you have removed the finance bill. But let's talk about extrajudicial killings. Let's talk about the abductions. What is this about? What are you people doing? And that to me, that has merit. It has merit. There's merit in saying the things that you're doing, regardless of the fact that what I started with you have fixed, or so we purport, because we can still argue about the financial bill and the finance bill and what they have, crept in and snuck in anyway. But there are other issues that happened after June 25th. We could still see it. We could still see the outcomes. People were winding up dead.
Yeah.
While at the same time, our political class were not very shy about telling us how we are a useless generation.
Yeah.
They came out and they were like, what are you people doing? What are you people talking about?
I agree with you, but now the problem comes in this manner.
Yeah.
That after the finance bill had collapsed, quote unquote, after they saw Kasmuel with Raila Odinga, and quickly, Cairo was positioning himself to be the leader of the Gen Z, and they told him off. They told him off when he was going to, shuttling between radio stations and TV stations, and a lot of people, now everything is coming to light that he likes attention. They told him that you are not our leader.
Yeah.
Now, they are telling Cairo that you're not our leader. They have deplatformed Kasmuel. You see?
So now
you are completely, there's nobody.
There's no organization.
Yes, there's no one coming out.
Yeah.
There's no one coming out to defend you in that manner. And curiously, Ruto comes out and say that we are going to do a broad-based government. Nobody asked him for a fucking broad-based government.
Nobody wanted that. Nobody wanted it.
Yeah, nobody asked for it.
Yeah.
And so they were just like, something is going on. In my interpretation, I thought that the broad-based government was brought in so that Ruto could have the requisite number to oust Gachagua. I think that was the reason why he was going for the
theater.
Yeah, theater.
Theater.
You see?
Yeah.
But then I was also wondering, after Gachagua was out, I thought he was going to slam his brakes.
And before you even go far, going back to the point of like distractions and obstructions,
you think
now all of us we're like, okay, Kasmuel, we are angry about Kasmuel, we are angry about Caliph Cairo, we're angry. Then suddenly Gachagua is being impeached.
Yeah.
Suddenly now all of us were just like, oh my God, what did he do?
What did he do?
Theater, drama. That is what they're doing. Drama, kids. Like all of them signed them up to the Kenya National Theatre. They put for us a show. That's what they're doing. Because now we are not talking about substantive issues, which is what the Gen Z movement was about. Now we are not talking about cost of living. Now we are not talking about unemployment. Now suddenly there's a new mountain we need to fall down, which is Rigathi Gachagua, which is a nonsense. It's neither here nor there. Who cares?
You think Gachagua should not have been shown the door?
I don't care. It did not make a difference.
Do you think that Gachagua needed to be shown the door?
I don't think it mattered. Because Gachagua and Kindiki, to me, they're just bodies.
What do you mean?
They're just, we know that this thing is being run at the helm. It's not being run by the number twos and the deputies, right? The deputies are bodies that are waiting, that are supposed to follow rules and if you don't follow rules, you go through a process. And if it is upheld, you go home. You're just a body in this game. You're not the, what is that chess piece? You're not the king or the queen.
Yeah.
You are just one of the other
small, slim ones.
So it doesn't really make a difference. Do I feel deeply impacted by Gachagua being ousted? No. Do I feel deeply impacted by Kindiki being instated? No. It does not make a difference to my life whatsoever. The game is the same. They're just doing chess and checkers. And to me, it's drama and it is not substantive. It doesn't make a difference.
So anyway, that's what I think about the Gen Z movement, because right now it's as good as dead. Would you say otherwise?
I don't think it's as good as dead. Is it dead?
What is going on?
I mean, people are talking about issues still.
Where?
On TikTok. That's why I said it's TikTok. It's TikTok uprising. Yeah, and TikTok politics.
And Ruto is supposed to be on TikTok watching everything.
No, he doesn't have to watch. Because this is about creating knowledge and sustaining the fight. And creating a sustainable way to go all the way to 2027, which is what
the problem that I usually have about those the way we do our politics is we are still referring to people. We are like, Ruto is bad for this country.
Yeah.
We are like, Gachagua is bad for this country.
Yeah.
We are like, Raila is good for this country, or otherwise. No. You see, but then when you put it that way, it's very problematic that sometimes it even appears to me that you really don't know the issues that you are talking about. Because because you have properly mentioned, and I would not have said it better, you're calling them bodies. We are very much into bodies.
Yeah.
We are talking about humans.
Yeah.
Like they said that we are taking this guy to Bondo, and that is where he belongs. Then this guy comes back.
Yeah.
He's going to Addis Ababa. You make it your agenda for him to fail. He fails, comes back home, starts shuttling around in a helicopter given by the government, all right, and then goes to KICC and rolls out the red carpet for their MOU, all right, and you are mentioning names, you keep mentioning names, and that's the problem with our politics, because even the politics of Nyanza is always circling around this old man.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this old man in a bad way. He's just an old man. And a lot of our politics are just revolving around it. Like right now in Nyanza, who is a strong politician that you can claim is gonna speak for that godforsaken part of the world?
Is it godforsaken?
Yes.
How so?
We don't have water in Nyakach constituency. We are drinking from a poisoned river Nyando that is being poisoned by Chemelil Sugar Factory. Nobody talks about it. Adoma has never addressed it.
Yeah.
And that lake, that river has been poisoned for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And nobody's talking about it. Nyong'o claimed that he was going to. Nyong'o was the Obama of Kisumu County. When he went there, he started sweeping Gingudinga Street. That belongs to his friend, and he claimed that Kisumu is now the cleanest city. You have not gone to Manyata. You have not gone to Obunga where I grew up. No. You have not gone to Nyalenda.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
It is a performance. It is something like I need to present to you. We will sweep here and then everything else is back. But which brings me back to the reason why I think it is important that everybody keeps engaging. And we need to talk about those things, right?
Yeah.
We need to stop. I like the way you're naming it, is that we need to stop talking about names or these bodies. And we need to start talking about the issues.
Like, for example, when they told our last MCA in Nyakach that there is nothing you have done. Yeah. Okay? I always go to the village. Every month I'm in the village. Yeah. And I have said it on my podcast DWJ. I'm saying it here at Political Headache, that Nyakach is in serious poverty. People are dying of hunger.
Which counties is it?
It's in the county of Kisumu.
It is part of the county of Kisumu.
People are dying. Which
is represented by Nyong'o.
You see.
As the governor.
Yeah. People, Nyakach is at its worst in terms of hunger. Like you go there, people are black, people are not eating. Yeah. Kids are taking donuts for lunch with strungi with no sugar, and they sleep on the same. They are malnutritioned. Yeah. Is that the word?
Yeah,
is that a word? Malnutrition.
They are malnutritioned. Yeah,
is that a word? Yeah. So, but then when I asked the people of Nyakach, what is it that you told the MC that you want? Did you want a clinic?
What did they say?
Did you want a road? Yeah. Did you want to sink? Did you want a well? Did you want electrification? What is it that you put him? You sat him down and told him that we want you to do number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Yeah. You see, and they didn't do anything. There's this guy called Vincent that came to our place and started dishing out money. He had like 6 V8 cars, and one of the V8 cars was just holding money. And
what do you mean?
Yes. Somebody that could not afford a meal 5 years ago suddenly goes to Nairobi, I don't know where, and just comes with bags of money. And he takes it.
And he takes the seat.
Yes. And they say that he's the best man. The best they have ever seen after their Catholic priest. Right now they are cursing the man. He's never been seen.
He went away.
No, he's never been seen. He said that the MCA is a very small post. Yeah. He's going for a bigger fish.
There's nothing he can do.
He wants to become Governor?
The MP. You bring up a very important point, which is that even us as the electorate, and I do not ever put blame on us as the electorate, because we elect people and it is their job to do a job. Yeah. However, this culture that we have around politics of the richest man takes the day, it's very problematic, and it is the reason why we are going through what we are going through as a country. It's the reason why we cannot talk about actual issues, because if you elect me on the basis of how much money I have, that's it. I will go away to make more money. So that's what we say. And then I will come back another 5 years with another V8 full of money. How do you think I'm going to get that money? But if children are going hungry and parents can look at that and not do anything about it, not demand anything about it, something is deeply, deeply wrong and upsetting with our society. something is very wrong. Because at the heart of politics, it's about how do we make sure that the child is fed? How do we make sure everybody has a roof over their head? How do we make sure there's clean water in our taps? How do we make sure that schools are actually functioning and their teachers? That's what politics is about. It's about organizing shared life together. And when we can look at the issues that are affecting us and turn the other side and not talk about it and not discuss and roll up our sleeves and get to work. And if we cannot as well at the same time, look at the people who have been mandated to do this work and call them out for their bullshit because they're rich men. And we don't call out rich men because...
Rich men and women.
Rich men and women. It is a war. They're rich men. Okay, yeah. They're rich men and women. And rich men and women are not told anything in our country.
Yeah.
They're not told anything, right? Even in our families, starting all the way from our families. The rich man takes the day, even if whatever they're saying is nonsensical. It is a problem. We have a very, very deep-seated problem of disengagement because of that, because of how we interact with each other. Our country has lost its soul. The soul of a country is the thing that makes us all stop. When children at Endarasha disappear, we stop. We stop and ask the hard questions. What happened? Who was in charge? Somebody has to be held responsible for that. But what do we do as a country? We look the other way.
I have always thought that the way we are supposed to be going to an election is saying, okay, watu wangando, munataka nini?
That is how we. Is that how we do it?
That's how we should.
We should,
do it,
yeah. But we don't do it.
There are guys writing like Ruto wrote. What are they called? The things that they write before an election is called what?
The manifesto.
The manifesto.
Yeah.
Because even with the way we write our manifestos, we suddenly are putting ourselves on this pedestal that we are the one who actually know what the country is going through.
Yeah.
When they come up with the 10 pointers during the MOU, Raila is assuming that they are the ones who know what ails this country.
Yeah.
When Raila was going around shuttling with his helicopter and going to people and saying that, look, I don't know what he was asking people to do. I don't know whether he was collating all these things, the problems that people have, and presenting them, and ultimately going and presenting them to Uhuru Kenyatta, to Ruto, or he was like, I want to go talk to this guy so that we can make a deal, So, because those 10 pointers should have been coming from the people.
Yeah.
But they just decided that this is what we should be dealing with.
But even if they decide, the bigger problem with those manifestos is that they're written in languages, they're written in English, but they're not accessible. Because what is a manifesto supposed to communicate? It's supposed to communicate an ideology. Like these are the ideas on which we are building this government. So Ruto can give me all the 10 points he wants to give me, written in very big English and very nice words. But at the end of the day, his ticket was hustler. That was his ticket. That was his idea. That was the idea he was running on.
What was the idea? What is a hustler idea?
What he wanted to do, and I think this is what took the wave, right? It took the wave. It was not the manifesto. Manifesto unaweza andika kizungu mingi and nobody understands what you're talking about. But hustler was supposed to be, I'm going to take care of you who has been frustrated by the oligarchs and the dynasties, you who these people cannot relate to.
We're going to drain the swamp.
Yeah, we are going to drain the swamp, and we are going to make sure that you who is hustling, we take care of you. That is what the idea was, right? That was at least the promise of his government. But you see how things have turned out?
Yeah. But what I'm asking you about this hustling narration is that what exactly was in it? Like we are going to mount taps everywhere around the country from which you are going to get
That is the point I'm making.
And honey, or what?
That's the point I'm making. It doesn't matter what they were saying. It doesn't matter what's in a manifesto because nobody cares.
Somebody said here on my podcast DWJ that his only manifesto was Atupangwingwi.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what you say.
And also it was the politics of Athui. You know Athui?
What is Athui?
Athui is pitting somebody against the other.
Yeah.
It was just pitting Raila against the people of Central
Yes.
Province.
Yeah. and appealing to the part of us that it was very, very frustrated by those people.
How do you want the Gen Z, now that they said that they are they are leaderless? How how would they function in a leaderless state? How would they function? How would they function in a why were they talking about being leaderless? Because they had realized that leaders go and make deals behind the people.
Leaders are easily bought. Everybody has a price. And the pocket of the opposition is deep.
But ultimately, you will have to be leaderful.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
So that's the thing, actually. And let's come back and bring Kasmuel back into the conversation.
I wish you were here, Kasmuel.
And bring him back into the conversation. Because the question is, if you are a Kasmuel in a leaderless movement, because every leader kind of but elevates certain people, just regardless of that. Like, the idea of being leaderless is just, it's neither here nor there. I think it was the spirit behind we are leaderless was that we know that you want to know who our leaders are so that you can either abduct them or buy them or whatever that is, right? However, the question is, how do we make sure that the people that the revolution kind of brings up stay consistent with the ideas that they have been sharing? Because the thing that people are angry about is not that Kasmuel took a picture with Baba. I've told you this. Taking photos is everybody's right because we all have smartphones. You can take a photo all you want. But what people are angry about and what people are fighting against is this idea that you can come out one day and strongly speak out against a regime and strongly speak out against what they're doing and stand up against it and articulate the issues, and you're very articulate. And then tomorrow make a 480. That one is not even a 360. You turn, you flick at the end, and then you go again.
Are you still speaking about Kasmuel?
That's not... That means that either you did not truly believe in the ideas that you were speaking about, or your price was reached. And when your price is reached, you have a choice to make. So the question is, how do we bring up people? How do we create a society where our ideas and ideals go over and above?
I think that one to talk about the issue of Kasmuel and people like them is that it's very tempting to repel the people that come to your doorstep and offer you things as a young person. I remember my days in college, or even shortly after college. Whatever I was standing for, if somebody in the caliber of Ruto or Uhuru Kenyatta
came in,
or his minions came and showed me something, and I'm not saying that they showed these boys anything.
That's not what we're saying.
But you can imagine the kind of power that Uhuru or Ruto or Raila might be wielding. It's a lot of powers. You see, and they can easily sway you. So I also think that it goes back to the people that are backing you. How good are they? How much of a backing are they giving you? Because for example, if you are somebody who is perhaps struggling to make ends meet, and suddenly you are on this pedestal, and then like you see, people have been telling Morara that Morara is asking for money. You need to have money.
And actually, that's a good point, because we need to demystify this idea that that people being bought is such a shocking thing. It's not a shocking thing. It has been happening time immemorial. When you give...
Even Marco Rubio has been bought.
Yes. That's not the thing. That's not the hill that we die on. How do we rally ourselves to actually finance the candidates that we believe in?
We need to create structures. Like I've told Kasmuel.
It's important. Because otherwise... Everybody has an interest, and everybody pays for their interests. So we need to actually figure out how to pay for ours and make sure it has a fighting chance. And the good news is that we are the majority.
Do you think that people that once led the Gen Z movement should be encouraged to come back to the fold and properly see where this is going?
That's the thing. We don't force anyone into power. We don't force anyone to do anything that they want.
What do you think
the people that are interested in being part of it should say? Just
what do you think about the NGO world? They have been very active participants in the whole fight.
Have they? Yeah.
I've been seeing them running around and bankrolling a few. Or is the NGO just another arm of government?
Is it?
You don't need to answer that one.
I don't know. I think the truth of how we run politics at this current time is that everyone pays for their interests. Everybody. Ideally, if I was to have it my way, if you made me president for a day, I would make it so that is not the way that things work.
Yeah.
Because if you can buy me in a certain sense, then I'm indebted to you. That's just life. I would make it so that, money is not the biggest determinant in a successful political campaign or not. But that is not the world we live in. We live in a world where money runs the day. So we need to figure out a way and a structure and a system to fund and finance the people who espouse the ideas that we believe in. That's just the bottom line. Yeah. If we're going to sustain this fight all the way to 2027 and not get hijacked and bamboozled by drama and theater, we have to keep at it and we have to figure out a way. Okay. Yeah. That's it.
We can finish?
Yes.
This is your camera.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Political Headache. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. I've been your host, Aggie Olo and Odwar Jagero. Until next time.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.